going on, y'all? Hope y'all doing fantastic. I got a paper here that I wrote some numbers down on here, and these numbers were from 10 years ago, March of 2008 to be exact. What these numbers are the cost breakdown to run a truck. See, 10 years ago, all the information that you guys are getting right now on YouTube, right at your fingertips. Cost of operation, fixed costs, and all that stuff, and everything else. Actual numbers, factual numbers for people that put their numbers out there. Actual numbers. This stuff was not available 10 years ago on this platform on YouTube. You may have been able to find it like a message form somewhere there, deep in the archives, but this stuff, the information that you guys are getting now was not available. So I'll just go ahead and put that out there. So I was talking to a guy. I found a local guy that ran in my area. He ran, 2 or 3 trucks. And I got in contact with him through a message board. So I was, asking him questions, trying to get advice on buying a truck, and essentially just run under him. He would supply the work. He had a direct shipper, and just make my money that way. Well, it didn't work out. I might tell you why in another video, but in this video, it didn't work out. But here's an email or a message that he had sent me in the message form, because I was asking him about the cost per, basically cost of operation, how much it costs to run an operation in my situation, not yours, in my situation. So I'll go ahead and I wrote these numbers out, and I'll go ahead and give you these numbers from 10 years ago. Ain't much change. So here's the breakdown of the load. This is for a 4-day work week. Well, there's 7 days in a week, brother. This is a 4-day work week. Okay? $850 a day. Comes out to $3,400 a week. Comes out to $13,600 a month. Now, that's the gross. Now, here's the breakdown of those numbers up there. Driver pay, $3,400 a month. That is 25% of gross. Fuel, $4,000 a month, $250 a day at 5 miles to the gallon. Well, brother man, my truck gets 16.847 miles to the gallon. We're going to calculate this at 5 miles to the gallon because that's the average. Average numbers between 5 and 6, really. But let me just stick to the numbers here. Tolls, $400 a month, or $25 a day at 4 per week. So you run the toll road 4 times per week. Truck payment, $1,500 a month. Now this will vary, but this was the figure that he gave me. Truck payment, $1,500 a month. Trailer rent, $1,500 a month. Insurance, $800 a month. So if I ran these loads, not you, but if I ran these loads, if I ran 4 loads a week for a month, consistently, that would be $2,000 net per month. Now, out of that, you take out your other expenses that weren't accounted for on these figures right here. $2,000. Now, what he told me was, if you do 4 loads, that was right here. If you do 5 to 6 loads, those are profit loads. So he said you want to do 5 or 6 as much as you can. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not, but you want to base your numbers off of a lower number. Sorry, that sun's right there in my face, but you'll be all right. Base your numbers off of a lower number. Now, I'll put that aside. Now, you can write those numbers down and calculate them. Now, ain't nothing really changed from this. This is still the same from 10 years ago. Ain't nothing really changed. Now, I'll tell you a story that happened, an event that happened last week. I pulled into a shipper. Not a shipper. I had a load on. I pulled into a receiver. And get out the truck. Another guy pulls up behind me. I've seen the guy around before. So the guys were on lunch break. So we're standing around, we're talking. We're talking about the different, what freight is moving in the area, because the company that he's leased to, pulls something different than what I do. Still flatbed, and I've seen the loads that he was pulling, I've seen them before. I've seen them on the board, so they ain't really doing nothing different than what I was doing. So we're talking. He asked the question. Now, before he asked the question, you have to, now this is a learned skill. And the better you get at perfecting your skills, the better off you will be to avoiding drama in your life. So he asked the question, hey, brother man. Well, he didn't say brother man. He said, hey, if you don't mind me asking, how much do you make a week? Now, let's do the intent of the question. Was he asking me that question because he wanted to hear what I had to say? He's doing a comparison between what I make and what he makes. Was he asking the question to make himself feel better about himself, looking for approval? Was he asking the question just because he was nosy as shit? Or was he asking the question because maybe if I had some information applying to the question, that he would apply the information and go from there? Now, I've been guilty of all of them, probably still doing. But when I'm in the position to ask a question, I try to check myself. It's like, okay, why am I asking this question? What's the intent of me asking this question, right? And a lot of time when people ask you questions, they just nosy as shit. I mean, that's what it comes down to. But so he asked the question, how much do you, if you don't mind me asking, how much do you make a week? So I told him the number, right? And the number was lower than the number he had in his mind. How can you tell? You know that, brother man, because he scrunched up his face. He said, that's it? I said, yeah, that's it. Let's go back to this paper. You may be able to run 6 loads a week or 6 days a week. But why don't you calculate your costs running off of 4 days a week or even 3 days a week if you're able to? You get what I'm saying? So I gave him a low number based on a low movement of the truck of what I'm content with making a week. See, even on here, I never told nobody I make $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 a week. Never have. Not with this, not knowingly. I may have with the reefer when I was leased to a company. Who knows what they got on their side. But as for me, running this flatbed under my own, I never made that much. The most I ever made was $4,500 a week. That was it. And that was just running steady. Now, do I need to make $4,500 a week every week? It would be nice, but no, I don't. I'm content with what I make. Well, how much you make? None of your business. Now, if I know you on a personal level, I'll tell you, that if that comes up. But, be careful with all these people with all these inflated numbers, man. Find out, how do I want to say this? I'll say it like this. This just popped in my mind. When I was a company driver, and I made this mistake. When I was a company driver, I was working for a construction company. And the construction company, you were almost guaranteed during the busy season, running 50, I'll say on average 55 hours a week through the busy season, running stone, dirt, blacktop, whatever have you, supplying the blacktop and concrete plants and stuff like that. 55 hours a week, running to the paver, back and forth, doing millings, 55 hours a week. Well, here's the rut that I fell into, and that what a lot of people fall into is, okay, you're running 55 hours a week. So what do? You base your life off of getting that 55 hour a week money. Instead, you should base your life off of, when I say base your life, I'm just speaking in general terms.
you should base your life off of a 40-hour work week instead of a 55-hour work week, because someday those 50 extra 15 hours at overtime, time and a half, they might not be there. But if you're cruising along at your 40 hours a week, you'll be all right. Or even, well, 40 hours, that's pretty normal. Companies try to give you the 40 hours. But that's the takeaway from this video. Even though you can have the potential to gross 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000, $2 million a week, a day, whatever, an hour. Why don't you, let's come down and be a little bit more realistic and be content. What can you be content with making consistently? So that's the takeaway of this video. We'll see you in the next one.